Hi, welcome to Time with Amos, Kevin-Annan. We're so grateful to God for this opportunity to be coming live to you via Facebook, on Preach Media, and Amos Kevin-Annan's handle, as well as directly from Zoom. And those of you who are on Zoom, together with our guest speaker, you're all welcome to this season. We have dedicated the month of June as the shades of blue. So you can see I'm in some form of blue today. And we're trusting the Lord that even though very little is said about men and masculine issues in our day and time, we are hoping that these conversations from now till the last Monday of June, which is the 29th, would be an enriching encounter for all of us. We are also hoping that through that, we'll create a bridge between our individuals, male or female. We'll work together to complement each other's efforts aimed at enriching our common humanity. This is why we are here. Ours is to create a very congenial atmosphere so that males and females can connect together and create wealth and create productive ends for the good of our common society. So you're once again welcome. Tonight we're so blessed. We're starting off with a very interesting conversation. And this is with a lady that I've grown to respect. She's a woman who is versatile. She's committed, very passionate about the things of boys. And she's investing so much time working with mothers. Ethel is a gem. And you've seen her on our flyer. You've seen her on all the feeds that we've given you so far. I mean, Genius Savers Africa and raising boys is not an easy encounter. And I doff off my hat, if I had one, for Ethel, for being so passionate about the issues of young boys. I'm a father of 2 daughters, so ideally it would have been good to be talking about girls. But I'd ask the question, our girls don't live in an island. They interact and socialize and learn in school and connect with boys within neighborhoods. And so the question is, who is actually raising those boys? What set of values are those boys having? And where are they at the moment? And who are they at all? And these are questions that must gain our attention, must come to the fore, so that we can discuss them. There's a negative tagging and connotation of being boy, and many boys are suffering the ills and misdeeds of their fathers. And how can we reduce that kind of yoke that is upon them? And these boys, through no fault of theirs, have been tagged as bad boys, quote and unquote. And so tonight we're going to look at how do we take them from the tag of being bad boys to becoming blessed boys. And that's basically what our interaction tonight is going to be. So may I now welcome my dear friend and colleague and sister whom I respect so much. It's been very difficult getting here. But today I have you, Ethel. Hey, hi, Mrs. Ethel Adjorlolo Marfo. How are you? I think your mic is muted, so you must unmute yourself for us, Ethel. Are you there, Ethel?
Mute myself. Okay.
Aha, fantastic.
Yes, I'm
now I
here.
can hear you. Good to see you, Ethel.
Yes.
It's a
See
massive.
you too.
It's a bold step of faith. We don't know how this is going to work out, but as you can see in my post. Anyway, we are still in the COVID. In my COVID afro hair, it tells you that a lot has happened. This is my new look. It's amazing how my girls love it. My daughters love it so much. I wanted to go to the barbering salon to get some cleaner shave. They said, oh, Daddy, don't touch it. So you're here to groom us. Help us to groom our boys. And you have been interacting with boys. I remember our encounter in one of the secondary schools with boys. And the boys prefect stood in front of the entire audience. Myself and Brother Claude were there, Claude Mann. And these boys were saying that for the first time that they have been in that particular school, and these were, some of them were third-year students, that was the first event that was being organized for boys. And that was heartwarming. And as I sat in that meeting, boy after boy was sharing the experience with depression, frustration, all kinds of things that were ebbing in their hearts. And as you interacted with them, I was very, very grateful to God that you were investing your time in that field. And not many people are there. So we want to give the rest of the time to you and share with us, how do we journey with our boys from bad boys to becoming blessed boys?
So once again, I would like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to hang out with you. I'm also very inspired by what you do for humanity, your role in setting a good example for fathers to follow. I mean, fathers need examples. And so I'm always happy to see you, I mean, impacting and sharing what you know. And I'm also in blue today. I'm also in a shade of blue in solidarity of Fathers Week. I just want to say that I acknowledge every father. I just want to assure them that you matter and you are doing your best. The truth is, what you don't have, you can't give. So there are fathers who are trying their best. And I think that we shouldn't condemn fathers who are not living up to the standard. He's giving what he has. It takes effort. It takes God. It takes you yourself to say that I didn't get this from my father, but I'm willing to learn, to sacrifice, to make it better for my children. So it's a mix of things. And a son who does well, or any child who does well, is one who has a parent who is always learning. So I want to congratulate all the parents here, the mothers and the fathers who are here to learn. If we don't learn, this journey is new to all of us. Your child will be 12 today. Next year, your child will be 13, and your child will encounter a different challenge in her life. And so we don't have a manual to this parenting thing. And Mr. Apia could have it easy grooming his son, or have it easy nurturing his son. You cannot use his methods or approach for your son in your house. It varies from home to home. You just have to constantly keep learning, keep teaching yourself through, and now we are blessed with internet. We are blessed with, podcasts and all that are available to us to improve our craft, or to master our craft as parents. But above all, you need to have the wisdom of God to be able to deal with certain situations. So my name is Ethel Marfo, as Uncle Amos has introduced me, and I have 3 daughters. And you ask why I'm on this journey of finding mentors and coaches for boys. It's because I had a facility, a salon. I am a serial entrepreneur, so I had a salon which was mainly for girls, but their brothers also come along with them. And I noticed some character deficits. You know, I realized the girls were all together. They'll read their books, but the boys lacked certain things. They will not even want to help out in the salon. For instance, maybe something fell on the floor. You see the girls rushing to go and organize it or pick it up, and the boys would just be looking on. And there was this sense of entitlement whenever they visited my facility. So I realized there was a need to deliberately groom the boy child, because we've been taking certain things for granted for a long time. We invest everything in the girls. Hey, when you marry, you have to do this, you have to do that. Nobody tells a boy, when you get married, this is what you have to do. Nobody prepares the boy for marriage. He just enters it and tags along, you know. So I took it upon myself. I discussed with my husband and a few other men to come on board, because I'm the visionary, but I am a woman. There's an extent to which I can go as far as grooming a son is concerned. So I approached a few good men, and they came on board to start it all up in 2015. This year, by God's grace, will be 5. And so over the years, whenever I encountered boys, I tried to find out about their backgrounds, their homes. And what I noticed was that it's either 70% the fathers were absent. If I say absent, not totally like out of the home, but he's there, but he's not there. A father could be at home, but he could be on his phone watching telly, and so he's not involved, in the day-to-day of the boy's life. And at a point in a boy's life, he needs that man to affirm him. He needs someone to chat with about his issues, so that's why sometimes you find a boy misbehaving at home. It's not because he's a bad boy. It's because he's crying for attention that he's not getting. Mommy is tired. Mommy is always tired. There's an extent to which mommy can go, and daddy is busy. I appreciate what dads are doing. I mean, in this modern Ghana, or in this modern world, there's so much on a father. There's so much responsibility on a father. School fees is no longer what we used to know it for. There are bills all over, and you have to crack your brain as a man to even find multiple streams of income, because you cannot even survive on one income. So I know how tough it is for fathers. But would you want to have your son reject you in your old age, just as you rejected him when he was young? These are questions you should be asking yourself. Instead of your son being your friend in future, your son may not really come close to you. He may provide all your needs. I mean, he will give you everything you need, but you will not be friends. You can't have any meaningful conversation with him. And it starts now. It has to be deliberate. You have to build that relationship with your child. I mean, you say he's a child, but there's so much going on because of internet. There's so much that they are exposed to that needs a father to filter for him. There's so much going on that he doesn't understand, so he needs that father figure to endorse him, to affirm him. Oh, you'll be okay. Oh, when I woke up in the morning, I had an erection. I don't understand. But, because of that distance between you and him, you can't explain things to him that well. And he finds solace in a friend. And he's termed as a bad boy when he now starts trying his masculinity in bad ways. So when I saw the topic, from bad boys to blessings, I told myself, there are no bad boys. It's the circumstances, the environment, the situation around the home that makes boys go that way. I don't want to call them bad, but every child, every boy, it's a blessing, and there are various forms of blessings or gifts God gives to us. There are blessings that God will give to you that you have to add value to it before it can be a blessing to you. And that's what kids are. They come to you, and as the father, you are supposed to help him discover his purpose in life. The biblical definition, actually, of a father is that a father is implored to bring their children up in the ways of the Lord, to discipline them, and to encourage, comfort, and instruct them. So a father's role has been ordained already by God, So it's about being deliberate about playing a role in your son's life. So like I said, your son is a gift. Whatever he does, however he reacts, probably it's because he hasn't gotten that fatherly love from you. I know you are stressed. I know you are tense, but there are certain things that will make it easier for your son to be that blessing that you want him to be. So, like I said, God gives us various gifts. There are gifts that you have to develop. You have to nurture. You have to add value to it before that gift will be valuable to you. Not all gifts comes wrapped beautifully. There are some gifts that you might even despise it at the beginning, but later it will become such a blessing to you. There are certain gifts also that when it's given to you, it's your duty to also give it to somebody. And our children are also in that category. You are raising that child not for you. You are raising that child to impact the world, to be useful to his family. in future. So that child is a blessing, it's a gift from God that you have to package very well and present to the world. So there is no bad child. All children are blessings to us. So take off that lens that my boy is becoming bad, he's following bad company, and let's get to know our children more and more. It's an investment to raise a phenomenal son. That's what I always tell the parents who subscribe to our programs. It's an investment because you are not doing it just for you. You are doing it for the world. Let's take Kevin-Annan, for example, our own late Kevin-Annan. I mean, he didn't just become a blessing to his father and mother. He was the UN Secretary General for the entire world. And so that's what our role as parents are. We have been rented to develop these children, to identify what God has for them, their purpose in life, So there are certain things that I would like to encourage fathers to take into consideration so our boys will be a blessing. He needs to see you love his mother. Just as every boy sees his father as a hero, he also sees his mom as that hero in his life also. So a boy feels very comfortable in a home when the father is showing love to the mother. I'm not saying kiss, hug everywhere, no, but you should offer a helping hand to the mother visibly. Sometimes you should take up some responsibilities that, we know, yes, women are supposed to do that. Like, getting the children ready for school. Once in a while, you can just step in. I know some of the fathers are doing a great job and I applaud you all, but I'm just letting you pay attention to these little things. And so when a boy sees that you pay attention to their mother is important to you. It makes a child feel comfortable, feel safe in the house. So the mother does not have any reason to be having discussions with her son, and your father did this, and some women do that, which I always advise mothers not to do, though. So please show that their mother means a lot to you through your actions, through your words, using of the magic words. You say please to your wife. You say thank you when your wife serves you food. Those little things. It's the little things that matter to children. It's not the gifts. It's not the toys. It's not the KFCs. Those things will fade out so quickly, but it's the little actions of love that really sticks out for children. One other thing is he needs to see you fail. He needs to see you fail. What do I mean? We adults or we fathers may tend to hide failure from our boys, and that will not help them so much. Why am I saying that? A boy needs to see the father fail at something so that when he fails, it's not new to him. And he needs to see you have a positive approach or positive attitude to failure. So let's say that within this corona period or this COVID period, you lost your job. You should look positive around the house. He should see you looking for another job. He should see you, thinking of what to do. He should see you kind of reinventing yourself. He shouldn't see you always in bed, always watching telly. You should show your son that it's okay to fail, but you can bounce back depending on your approach to life, because failure happens to all of us. Life happens and you have to deal with it. A lot of boys are misbehaving in our society because they are not used to failing. They feel that everything should come to their doorstep, and I don't blame them. It's how they have been raised. When they cough, everything is made available to them, So he needs to see you the father, fail at something and kind of bounce back with a positive attitude. It helps your son. It helps your son to deal with situations in life. Also, he needs you to affirm him. So I know it's so hard in Africa to say I love you, son. It's quite hard. It's not something we have been raised with. But our children today are watching movies. They are exposed. They see billboards in town. things that hitherto we were not exposed to, they are exposed to it. They see all sorts of affectionate family time on TV and all that. And so you should be able to tell your son, I am proud of you. I love you. I know you'll be great. You are destined for greatness. I mean, find all the positive vibes for your son. I'm telling you, no matter how bad the son is, he knows you're proud of him. And he will consider certain things twice before going into it, because he knows that you're proud of him, and you don't expect him to disappoint you. Another thing you should do as a father is to make room for mistakes. So be prepared to have your son make some mistakes and walk him through it. So if there shouldn't be any occasion like, you can't make a mistake in this house. No, I mean, you can't get zero. I mean, allow some mistakes and walk him through it so that he can bounce back. That's what life is all about. Let's not pretend that we didn't have any difficult times when we were kids. Let's be real to our boys so they can also have a real life and a meaningful relationships with other humans. Then also he needs to have you discipline him in love. So he's done something wrong. Your approach matters, because that is a very critical moment. The way you discipline a child can kill his confidence, or can make him have this resentment towards you. So like what a father did, two fathers did recently. A father in Kumasi, what did he do? He used a wire to actually whip his son till the son was bleeding, had sores on his body. I mean, these are things that a son can never forget. Another father in Kaswa used a knife to cut his son's ear for stealing 2.5 to 250 Ghana cedis. I mean, I would say that maybe some of the fathers may have a mental case, but I mean, I know some fathers also do get angry and go beyond normal. But you ask yourself, what memory will this child have in the future? They never forget these things. So in as much as your children can push you to the wall, you should always count on God to give you that patience to be able to discipline them in love. After you've disciplined them, call them and let them know why you discipline them. And let's try to find productive punishments, reformative punishments. So he did something bad. Let him wash your car. Let him uproot weeds from the garden. Let him do something that he can learn from. It shouldn't always be beating and caning, or deprive him from something that means a lot to him. They are home now, so some of them depend on tablets and gadgets to while away the time, like break time, that kind of thing. So let's find our punishments that will teach our children some good lessons in life, because if you don't discipline your child well, it could end up very bad. So these are some of the things that we can do as fathers. It's also important. So you were a very good footballer when you were young, and your son, you've tried very hard, but your son doesn't seem to love football. My brother is like that. My brother, there's nothing about football that excites him. My brother has various interests. Football. So I was saying, Jerry, now, remember you never ball, remember ball, but he's not interested. He has other interests. So as a father, you have to love your son's choices, unless it's not biblical. If he loves reading instead of football, respect his choices, love his choices, encourage him. Your son is not a mini you. So learn to love his choices. And if he's not doing well in school, find a better approach. You could engage his teachers and actually invest time in finding out what his interests really are. I saw a video on Facebook the other day, a father really lashing out at his son for failing his exams. And I felt very sad, because before you know, he's not interested in schoolwork. He wants to do something with his hands. So you just have to come to terms or negotiate with your son that, you know what, I'll let you play football as a career, but you need that degree so you can network properly in future, so you can sign your own contracts without depending on a manager, so you can be self-sufficient. I want you to be a footballer with a class. You know, these are good positive vibes of explaining to your son why he should put his education first before being a footballer. But if you just say, that useless career, so you are not going to be a lawyer like I am, you know, he cannot be like you. He's a different individual, and you are also different. And mind you, God put that son in your life so you could prepare him for life. He's not yours. He's going to also have his own family. So just do your job of packaging your son, nurturing him, help him discover who he is. He can't be you. He's also on this earth for a purpose. And so if we understand that, we will love our sons, we will not see our sons as bad. Our sons will be blessings to us. Also, your son needs to see that you are somebody that gives him the opportunity to have an opinion in the house. As he's growing, he also want to share his opinion. Don't shut him up that he's a small boy and that kind of thing, you know, because as they grow, they also have their views. And today's children actually have some good views. Today's children are actually deeper. When I look at my daughters, I go like, no, I mean, at 11, I wasn't thinking like my daughter. So you need to give your children that chance to express themselves, to express their views in a respectful manner. Though, when my children are going overboard, I just, you know, call them back and I'm like, yes, I like your viewpoints, but you have to respect your mother. I open Ephesians for them to read. Children, obey your parents in the Lord and all that. So give your son an opportunity to have an opinion, because a lot of things happening to boys or men that they cannot talk about is because they didn't have the opportunity to have their views heard, or they didn't have an opinion. And so a man is being molested in his house, is being abused, but men have been trained that in such a way that you have to keep it to yourself. You know, men don't cry. And when you come to my organization, Junior Shapers Africa, we just allow the boys some time to vent, because it's important. He's a human, and every human, I mean, at a point you need to express what's really disturbing you. So we can't have our boys hide their feelings and you know, we think that it's okay. No, it's not okay. One day his immediate family is the one that's going to suffer. So it's important that we allow our children, you know, to kind of have an opinion on matters at home. So these are things that I would love to share with you this evening, and I'll allow questions, you know. And I also want to encourage every father that it's not a competition as to who is raising his son well, whose son is going to the best school. My father, at a point in his life, went into ministry. He was a civil servant, and at a point he had a calling on his life, and went to Bible school, and so times were hard. My father is that kind of person. He was a good communicator, so every time he will have a chat with us and that kind of thing. So he actually called us and he made us aware that times have changed, and so he has to take us from the school in which we were to another school. And because we already have an ongoing relationship of chatting freely with our dad, it was not a problem at all. So you are not in competition with any family that another family is taking their children to a certain kind of school, and so you must also meet that standard. No, there are equally good schools around. It's about there are children who are in very good schools, but they are not that good. It's about your investment as a parent in your son's life. So try to communicate with your son. Times are hard. There are certain things that you may not be able to afford for your son now, Have a discussion with them. Just have, and it mustn't be formal. As you're watching TV, as you're eating, as you having some fun time with them, you just chip it in. You know, this is not supposed to be a meeting. Hello, gather around. We are coming to meet. No, that's not how to get the attention of your child. You know, make it informal so that he's not scared anytime you call for a meeting. You know, so times will change, and you need to have that relationship with your children so that when times change, you can easily communicate to your child. Because trust me, some dads have lost their jobs. Even before the COVID-19, we had a lot of banks closing down and all that. Men are going through serious challenges, you know, and it's hard on you men, and I know, but this is where you have to develop your communication skills and have that rapport with your wife and your children, you know, so that you are not always feeling like they don't appreciate you. No, it's because you are not communicating, you know. So please, let's work on our communication skills as fathers. And one thing I always want to also remind fathers is to ask yourself this question every day when you wake up in the morning. What would I want to be? What would I be remembered for? If tomorrow I wake up and I sleep and I don't wake up, what will my children remember me for? When I say what will my children remember me for, I'm not talking about the house you left them. I'm not talking about the KFC you bought them. I'm not talking about the toys. What values did you imbibe in your son? Is he going to be a hardworking man like you are? Is he going to have integrity? Is his yes going to be yes and his no, no? Is he going to be a faithful husband? Is he going to be a committed and a dedicated father like you are? So every day you should ask yourself that question. If I fall today, what will my son remember me for? What legacy would I have left? I think that will also help you in how you deal with your children or your sons. Try not to compare your daughter to your son. They are all children, yes, but daughters are such that they are sweet. They are all over daddy, but your son may not come around you that much. So there are children who complain to me that daddy favors my sister more than me. I mean, daddy's always answering my sister's request, because girls are forward. Girls will come out. At a point in my program at Junior Shapers Africa, I put boys and girls together for a deliberate reason. I wanted to see what we were teaching the boys, how it was working, whether what we were teaching the boys was going somewhere. So we invited the girls to come around for the boys to show them respect. I realized the girls were forward. They asked questions, but the boys are laid back, you know. So you, in your home, you see that your girl is the articulate one, is the talkative, is the sweet one, is the intelligent one sometimes. I mean, and you tend to say that this my boy, he's too slow, he's too dull. And you know, don't let him see it so visibly that you prefer your daughter, you prefer the girl to him. They are all different. And I mean, life happens, things change. This boy that you look down on right now may be the one to take care of you. So treat them equally and share the responsibilities equally at home. Don't also make this boy feel so entitled. Let him help your wife in the kitchen. And he should even see you helping your wife in the kitchen first, because I mean, boys, children do, I mean, they actually act on what they see. I know what we always say. So let him see you helping your wife in the kitchen, so he knows that, hey, a man can also cook. A man can help his wife. It's normal, you know. So don't compare your children. Your son has a different identity. He has a unique identity, and your daughter also has a unique identity. But know that they are all children, and they deserve equal attention, equal love, and equal nurturing. These are the few things I'd like to share with you this evening. If there are any questions, I'm prepared to take them up.
Wow. That was an awesome presentation. I've made a lot of notes as I was listening to you with rapt attention. Ethel, I want to say a big thank you. I recall that I asked my daughters, if I died today, what would they remember me for? And they screamed, Daddy, Tofiakwa. Nobody wants their daddy to die, but the truth of the matter is that everybody is writing an epitaph, whether we know it or don't know it, and will be remembered for good or for bad. And for some, they will be remembered for gory reasons. And so you've shared some very important things with us. I wrote a few of them here. Love their mother. And you must make her the shiro. I like that. We've got heroes, so let's shiro our wives. Offer a hand at home. And that's a very good one. Watch your words. In effect, mind your manners. Then they must see you fail. Show your vulnerability. You know, the masking is becoming too much, and you want us to show the vulnerable part of us. I watched a video which was given to me by one of my lovely sisters and colleague, Letitia Hiniefa, and she is about masking, you know. And it was a very profound video. You see how men mask many things. And I'm thankful to God that you've raised that issue this evening. Then you also spoke about discipline, and you touched a bit also on punishment, and made sure that you highlighted the aspect of reformation, because discipline that does not reform actually deforms people. So it's either a discipline that reforms or punishment that deforms. And the two cases you highlighted clearly were deformatory. I mean, there are things that deform the children. Look at the blisters and the wounds on the back of that child from Kumasi, and the one from Kasua to have had the cut on the ear for what he was reported to have done. That's very, very painful. Those are deformations. They are not reformation. And so we've got to guard against that. And then the issue of loving their choices. Yes, of course, you raise the issue of guiding them and all that. And I like a very powerful punchline you put in there, which is, they are not a mini you. You know, it is easy for a parent to turn their child into a mini them. It's difficult, it's frustrating. I suffered it, and I need not repeat it because my wife doesn't want me to repeating it, especially when my dad is late now. You don't speak evil of the person who is late, we are told. But it was harsh for me at that time. But I had to trust the grace of God to recover. And my mom played a very, very good role in that. So mothers have a powerful role to play in this choice area. I remember Dr. Miles Moreau sharing a young man's story in his book, Purpose, where the young man pursued a career path which was for the father. And on graduation, he received a certificate and gave it to Daddy and said, Daddy, I have finished your program. I'm not going to pursue mine. Is that what we want? Of course, guidance is key. And talent today is something we must nurture. So the issue of giving them a voice, you know, because our voices show our humanity. It shows our worth and our values. So I'm very happy you touched on that. And then the last one that I have here, this is not competition. Parenting is not a competition. And therefore, Mr. Simesi or Madam So-so-and-so's model may be inspiring, but may not necessarily be what you should do. And thank you so much, Ethel, for these insights. So we will touch base with those who are with us tonight. On Facebook, we are live on Preach Media, as well as on my handle. And we would also take questions from our Zoom audience. So we will now go to our Zoom audience and take the questions. They will be read out by myself. Okay, we have Kwabena Sapon. Kwabena Sapon shares something about himself growing up. And Kwabena says that he growing up, I and my siblings did not have much love, impact, and guidance from our father. As an authoritarian father, we did not get close to him. Then he goes on and he says that we never had conversations with him for me personally. And he continues with another statement. My device seems to be not allowing me to. But, I mean, Ethel, what do you talk to the issue of authoritarian fathers? We've spoken about the fact that they should create space to let the children get closer to them. How are they going to do this practically?
Uncle Amos, it's hard. You know, an authoritarian father is somebody who has it in his DNA. Probably it's his temperament. And so it's difficult. I mean, you know, a man who is set in his ways, it's quite difficult to break into. It takes God to change a man. So if a child has an authoritarian father, it's kind of a hard one to break. It's up to the mother to keep assuring the son that your father loves you, and for the mother and the son to pray, to commit their father to God. The mother can try to educate the father why it's important to have a different approach to raising children of today. You know, she can try her best in love to talk to their father, but if a man is authoritative, it could be his temperament, and two, he himself had never seen any love shown him when he was a child, so he has grown with this behavior for a long time. So it will not take just anything to change him. It will take God. There are men who listen to, sermons every day. They go to church, but they're still what they are. It takes God. It takes God. So that is why I have a community of mothers that I encourage to pray more for their men and their sons. You know, so if a man is authoritarian, the mother can try in love to talk to him, but it's only God that can change him. So mothers must also play their role in nurturing their sons and assuring their sons that, hey, your father loves you very much. It's just that this is his make. So he will come around. Assure your son. Just keep assuring your son, and God will do the rest.
Wow, thank you so much. I think that's a very, very important component. How do I ratify this knowing this is instigated in me? I mean, there are individuals who have had this experience. They want to ratify it. I think that some of the things that you have raised are very important nuggets for each one of us in that space to begin to examine. We want to take a very short interlude, a minute, and then we'll come back to the text messages again. Yeah, welcome back. I want to thank Preach Media for the platform that they've given us. And DeWex Graphics did this beautiful backdrops for us. And the guys and the ladies here have been awesome. This is a step of faith. It's a major risk we took. And thank you for believing in this, Ethel. Between yourself, Mama Angela, C.J. Bachman, William Ham, and Nane Ofeuku. I'm so grateful to you because that's what friendship is all about. Friends stand with you when the Lord prompts you on a matter. Kwame is saying that my daughter is always around me, smiling, hugging, showing genuine love around me. Naturally, I respond to that as a father. My son is a bit different. My wife believes I don't know the same level. I don't show the same level of affection as I do with my daughter. My question is, how do I rectify this, knowing this is instigated in my daughter? I mean, and I just respond. You talked about the girls coming forward. Boys tend to be withdrawn. Yes. I mean, and especially in the world where that I have observed. Yeah, a world where they say the world now is for the women. What do we do? How do we get our boys to, come forward?
No, you see, you have to warm up to him. Okay. Come to his level. You have to come to his level. So consider you the father. Consider some years back when you were a child. Were you that open? Were you coming close to your dad? I mean, sometimes we become adults and all of a sudden we forget what we used to be when we were children. My daughter, my first daughter, it's not forward. It's not so forward. She's very shy. She doesn't really come out like her younger sisters. And sometimes when I am trying to kind of get her to come out, I just remember how I used to be when I was younger. I was like that. I mean, I knew everything in my head, but I won't talk, So sometimes we parents have to be honest with ourselves, where you just what your daughter is doing to you now, where you like that. So come down to your son's level. When a son is not coming close, you have to come close. You have to go closer to him. So I know it's hard. It's natural for you to just love that daughter of yours who is all over you. But let me tell you that son of yours is crying within him. He's craving for affection, but he doesn't know how to go about it. So you have to hug him first. You have to hold his hand first. You have to do it for him first, and he will warm up to it. So it's an effort. It has to be deliberate.
All right. It has to be deliberate. Now, you raised some very important issues in the initial stages of our conversation. You spoke about the fact that there's no particular manual, as it were, for parenting. And so each one of us must find our own rhythm, our own pace. Then you also mentioned the issue of the context in which we are parenting. We have to pay attention to that as well. And then ensure that there's no vacuum created between ourselves and our children, particularly the boys, since they are the focus for this one. Then you also raised the issue of we should be present in the lives of the boys. I think that Barack Obama, former president of the United States, said something, and I've used it a few times. He says that the vacuum created in me by the absence of my father is yet to be filled by society. George Herbert, who writes a lot about men, says that one father is better than 1,000 teachers.
That's true.
And so there's a need for us to begin to get the fathers to be present in the boys' lives as well as in the girls' lives. But this June is focused on the boys. I mean, July is for women, so be rest assured, we are not going to leave anybody out. We're a balanced body. We believe that you need both legs to walk. You need both hands to do what you have to do. Both eyes need to see well for you to have a clearer vision. I went to test my eye recently and I had to close the right for the left to see, and then later close the left for the right to see well. When I left the two, I could see differently. And I noticed how one is stronger than the other. So we are better together, as it was the theme for the IWD last year. And so better for balance. Let's keep going. The balance is cool. Now, Ethel, let me ask you this question. I mean, I know it may sound very difficult. Truth of the matter is that boys are more stable with their masculinity around stable, decent, respected men. What do we say to mothers who are raising boys so that they don't get it wrong? Because you and I know that a lot of modeling is needed, mentorship, coaching, and it must be done by decent men, not men who are predators, because we know there are a lot of predators and monsters out there, pedestals and what have you, pedophiles and etc., etc. What do we say to mothers who are mentoring boys, who are growing boys? Because they are doing a great job.
Yes, they are doing a great job. And I always say the mother has a role to play as far as raising a son is concerned. It's, as the mother, you are you are the first woman they see, you know. So before they date that girl, before they marry, you are the first example of a woman they see. So you have a role to play in respecting yourself as a mother, valuing yourself, you know, so that they can also appreciate a woman who is ambitious, who values herself, who has dreams, you know. Yes, but if you're raising a son, know that there is an extent to which you can go as a mother. You can be a role model for your son in certain aspects, but your son needs a father. Your son, you cannot be a role model entirely to your son. He needs a man in his life to endorse him, to affirm him, you know, to tell him that, oh, this erection you had this morning is normal. I also went through it. You, a woman, you have not had an erection before.
Yeah.
So you can advise your son on
Preach it.
You cannot advise your son so well on certain challenges your teen son, for instance, is going through right now. So it behoves on us mothers, if your husband is late, if you are no longer with him, you are divorced, you are separated, and he's not a good role model for your son, then you have to make an effort to find a mentor, a coach for your son. And that is what we provide at Junior Shapers Africa. At least we try and invest in knowing some good men who can impact your son positively. You know, so you may not have a husband and you may not have a man you can trust right now, but I'm using Uncle Amos's platform to let you know that in my organization we make available